Welcome back to another video. Today we are once again talking about Canva and some of the insane new features they have just recently introduced to the platform. Canva is of course totally free to use, but because this video is sponsored by Canva, you can go to the link in the description below or go to canva.me/DanielS for 45 free days of Canva Pro. Now, if you're already a Canva user, then you know that Canva is pretty much setting the standard for all-in-one content creation platforms. And every time I feel like they've hit a new peak, they just continue to outdo themselves and introduce more and more features that make content creation so much easier and accessible for everybody. So with that said, let's talk about Canva's new Magic Studio and a few of their new AI features that I am personally obsessed with. Number one, we have Magic Expand. This is a photo I took this summer of my friend Jem when we were up at the cottage. As we can see, if we extend this aspect ratio, it doesn't quite fill out our whole 16:9 frame. So what we can do is go up to Edit Photo, and in our Magic Studio, we have this option called Magic Expand. If we select that, we can choose what size we want to expand our image to. I'm gonna select the whole page, click Magic Expand, and as you can see, Canva instantly creates a few options for how to fill out the rest of the scene. This is all done completely with AI. There is no additional information other than just the photo we have. And here we can see the few different options that it's created. If you're not happy with the options it gives you right away, you can just click Generate New Results. And now we have 4 brand new options to choose from. I would say that I am quite liking this third option right here. This is a pretty good starting point, so I'm going to click Done. And there are a few things we can do to just touch this up and make it look a little bit better. Once again, in our Edit Photo tab, we can see the Magic Eraser. I'm just gonna go over this right here because it looks a little funky. And as you can see, that instantly looks a whole lot better. Not quite sure what's going on down here, so I'm gonna go over that as well. And now this is looking really good. Here is the photo we started with, and you can see just how much more information we've introduced to the scene. Expanding it to that 16:9 aspect ratio, there's just so much more room to work with now. And this brings us to our next feature, Magic Edit. Once again, making sure that our photo is selected, we'll go up to Edit Photo, and in our Magic Studio, we have the Magic Edit option. I'm going to increase my brush size and paint over the sky. That should be pretty good, so I'll hit continue, and then I'm going to type in sunset in the distance and click generate. And within seconds, we get 4 different options of sunsets that we could add to our image. I honestly quite like the first one. I think it's adding a good subtle amount of sunset to the photo. So we'll hit done, looking good. And we're gonna go back into Edit Photo and use the Magic Edit once again. Going to paint our brush over this section of forest in the distance here. Hit continue, and I'm going to type in forest in the distance and hit generate. We got a few options here to choose from. The first one actually has snow in it, which is interesting. I quite like this 4th option here. I think that's gonna work, so we'll select that and hit done. Now you'll notice that this new chunk of forest we just added looks a little bit more in focus and vibrant than the rest of the forest in the background, and that's a pretty easy fix. All we need to do is go up to Edit Photo and use the autofocus tool down here. We can select our focus position, which of course is our subject. Adjust the blur intensity of the rest of the image. I think that looks pretty good, but let's keep going. This red solo cup here is kind of random and doesn't really fit the scene for me. So let's go back into our Magic Edit and draw an area right here. And I think something that makes a whole lot more sense is if we make this a fishing tackle box. Click generate, and here we go. I'd say this one right here, that looks pretty reasonable. I think that looks more aligned with the whole fishing scene. So let's go with that. We'll click done, and we're just gonna continue spicing this up with the Magic Edit feature. So I'm gonna add a boat right here. I think will look good. Type boat. Now, what if we gave Jem a camo vest? Let's draw over his t-shirt here. We'll type in camo vest, generate. I can't believe how good these actually look. What are we thinking, 1 or 2? Yeah, let's go with 1. We'll click done. Let's make some brush strokes in our sky, and I want some seagulls flying in the distance. Okay, I like that. And for our finishing touches, let's go into the elements and grab a bush. We got this one here, which I think should work pretty well. That looks good. Let's just blur it out. We'll warm it up and darken it a bit. Grab another one here and put it off to the side. Same sort of thing. We'll blur it out, warm it up, and darken it. This is looking pretty good. Let's add some text. I like this one right here. So let's type in gone ambition. And finally, let's adjust the size of our whole scene. We'll give our text a bit of a shadow. And there we have it. Here is the original image we started with, and as you can see, there wasn't a whole lot to work with. The aspect ratio was very narrow. That magic expand gave us so much more frame to work with. We added the sunset, we added the trees, the seagulls, the boat. We even put a camo vest on Gem and added the tackle box next to him. And the most mind-blowing part is that we did all of this just in a couple of minutes, all within Canva. Now moving along to my next favorite feature, this is Magic Grab. Here we have a still. This is a bottle of olive oil, and if we select it and go to edit photo, you can see back in our Magic Studio, we have the option for Magic Grab. We can click this and instantly Canva will separate our bottle from the background. You can see we can move it around pretty good. The background is intact. And while this is kind of similar to the background remover, what makes this really cool is that we now have our background and our product on separate layers, meaning we can edit them independently from each other. So let's say I select our product and go up to edit photo. I can go to the adjustments. I can bring up the brightness, bring up the contrast, bring up the vibrance, really make this stand out. I can even turn up the sharpness and the clarity a little bit, warm it up if I like, and then I can select the background and edit it separately. So in our adjustments here, I can cool it down, creating some contrast. I can lower the brightness, maybe raise the shadows a little bit, turn down the sharpness, giving it a bit of blur. And now you can see how much more emphasis there is on the product and how much more it pops. Another cool thing is if we wanted to add text and say something like simply delicious, and then we put it up here, you can see that it's overlapping the bottle and it's kind of hard to read. Well, what we can do is we can actually bring our bottle forward to the front and move it over, giving us that rule of thirds, making the whole frame overall more visually appealing. Similar to our last example, we can go in the elements and we can add stuff to the foreground here. Looking at it now, I think I actually want to make the background warmer, so I'm going to warm it up. And let's use our magic edit again to introduce some more elements. Let's brush in over here and we can add an olive branch. That looks pretty good. Maybe I'll duplicate our product layer and send it to the back. We actually want to make sure it's still in front of our background. We'll turn the brightness down all the way, bring down the highlights, the shadows. We'll blur it out a whole bunch, put it behind our product and turn down the opacity. And that gives us a really nice subtle shadow. We don't want it to be too noticeable, just a few more minor tweaks. And once again, here is that super basic image we started with. And here is what we turned it into. There's so much more depth. There's so much more going on that makes it visually interesting. That magic grab feature giving us the ability to move the product over is such a game changer. And just for fun, let's say we wanted to animate all of this. We could go up to the animate tab and use the magic animate feature. And this will analyze our entire design and choose the most suitable animations and transitions. As you can see, the recommended style is bold, but we have a whole bunch we can choose from, and you can select whatever you want depending on your taste. And with all of these features, we're really only scratching the surface. There is so much more you can do. If you want to try it out for yourself, then go to the link in the description below or go to canva.me/DanielS for 45 free days of Canva Pro. You do not want to miss out on this. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Daniel.Schiffer, and I will see you in the next video.